Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about workers laid off all over United States. Let's dive into the videos and watch. Please do not forget like, share, subscribe. It really helps my channel grow.
So new for us here at 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago Public Schools. The layoffs come on the heels of a doomsday budget with a $700 million gap to be filled. But CPS says today's cuts are not related to this year's deficit. CBS News Chicago investigator Dorothy Tucker here now taking a closer look at these cuts, Dorothy.
Well, Joe, as you said, hundreds of teachers, special education assistants, and even parents who help out in the classroom are impacted by these latest cuts. Let me break it down. The layoffs include 432 teachers, members of the Chicago Teachers Union. 123 of them teach special education students. CPS said the number of teachers cut this year is about 50 less than last year. But special education classroom assistants appear to be impacted more this year. In that job position, there were 677 layoffs announced today. They are represented by SEIU Local 73. That union saw only 404 cuts last year. In an interview yesterday, the interim CEO for the Board of Education did indicate the cuts were coming.
We have everything on the table, and what's driving the decision that we will ultimately come to: students first.
CPS insists the cuts are not connected to the deficit. School leaders say it's all part of the annual budget that shifts staff according to school needs.
Still, it's a big number.
It is indeed.
And they still have the work of the budget to do as well, right?
They got a lot of work to do, and as always, parents are concerned as well. They should be.
I got laid off yesterday. It was a wild day. I didn't eat a thing because I was sick to my stomach the whole time. And I just wanted to say, I feel like it really talks about what it feels like to get laid off from a company that you've been with for a while. And I'm not here to talk any negative things about who I worked for or anything. It's more so about the feelings that I'm feeling after the fact. But yeah, I just feel like I'm going through this breakup with a partner that I had for 7 years. I don't know, man. It's tough. I go through waves of emotions of thinking, it's okay, it's for the better. And then the next 10 seconds, I'm bawling, crying. Paper plates because I don't want to do dishes, okay? But yeah, I don't know. It's just been a weird transition. And I know I'm only on day one. I'm sure the roller coaster is about to get even wilder, especially with job searching and all that, which I already have started. It's all very difficult to process. I'm not going to lie. And we all go through periods in our careers where we probably think I'm better off, blah, blah, blah. And you wish something like this would happen so that it would catapult you on the other direction. But when it does happen for real and not just a weird, weekly dream, you actually have to deal with how it feels. It's not my favorite feeling, I'll tell you that. It's really not. If I look sad, it's because I am. I don't know. It just all feels so strange. But anyway, I think that's all I had to say for my morning ramble about my layoff situation. I need to eat this and go job searching for a little more. My kids are going to be in daycare for another week since I already paid for that. So I'm going to use this time to 100% nose deep. I think that's the saying. And try and get some interviews lined up or something. I know it's gonna be hard. I know, but I have to try.
I was a part of a mass layoff today at my job. Can you tell? Let's talk about it. This morning when I logged in for work, I had a 15-minute touch base with a manager that I don't necessarily work with anymore. So I kind of already had the feeling that something was going on, but obviously I was going to try to stay hopeful. So, I went throughout the day, I took my meetings, I did my work, and then the 12 o'clock meeting came. When I logged on, it was that manager and then someone I hadn't met before. And it was at that moment I knew that I was getting laid off. I tried to hold it together as best as I could. The role that I got terminated from, or what you even say terminated, I guess you could, was a senior associate for population health, and essentially they were just letting me know that they are doing away with the role, and I wasn't the only one that was being laid off, and it wasn't, you know, about my abilities and you know, the whole shebang, but I was no longer needed at my job. That breaks my heart because I've been with this company for 3 years. I started back in, I guess, 2022, and I've been fully remote working with this company, doing the best I can to help members that were with this company. So yes, it sucked a lot, but I'm making this TikTok to hopefully reach other employers. In the public health field, I have a bachelor's in healthcare administration, a master's in public health, and I am currently a doctoral candidate to getting my doctorate in public health at Tulane University. So if you know of any jobs, any public health jobs, or any jobs that you think kind of falls into that role of the public health realm, if you could please just tag me in them, send them to me, whatever the case is, I would be greatly appreciated. And maybe this is the start of my little TikTok influencer journey.
I am not so surprised by this conversation. I think that given a lot of different factors, given the fact that I've been remote for a certain amount of time, working in global communications, you have a very interesting perspective on the state of the business. So I'm not surprised. It's obviously disappointing to have to part from something that you've committed so much of your time to.
I'll reiterate, like, it's not a performance. So the short answer is yes, if there was an opportunity that came available. So particularly if that were a possibility, yes, like no question. I think what we're struggling with and having to manage through is really enormous budget cuts. And so how do people do multiple things? And there's going to be, unfortunately, some work that we have to pause and stop. But it isn't about you. So yes, like there's no blockage from a future opportunity in any way. And I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you as those things pop up too, or if you see things or you hear things and you're interested, like 100%.
Okay, great. I appreciate you taking the time, and I know this is difficult on both sides, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Bernardi. Thank you for saying that, and let's be in touch.
For sure.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Hey, Fed fam. So as I'm driving home, you know, I just got off of a call with my sister, and she shared some news with me that honestly caught me off guard. And it reminded me of how quick life and things can change just like that. We've been having, honestly, a lot of these conversations. As quickly as things can change that way, negatively, they can also change positively, but we cannot give up. And I know right now is a tough time for all of us. So many different things happening, and it seems like they just keep coming, but don't give up. Now, you might need to take a break. We are not supernatural beings, right? We are not superhuman. That's Jesus, but that's not us. So sometimes if you need to take a break, if you need to pause, do that. Give yourself that grace and that space, but don't throw in the towel. Don't let these times make you forget your value. Don't let this crazy job market and these crazy situations that we know are happening from crazy people make you forget who you are and make you forget all of the things that you've accomplished. I know people are applying for jobs and going on interviews and losing opportunities, and bills are being passed and things are changing right in front of our eyes, and it feels like minute by minute more and more things are being taken away from us. But I promise you, it will get better. Sometimes it gets worse or it gets rough before it gets better, but it always goes back. The pendulum always swings back the other way. Let's just hang in there as much as we can. Just want to encourage you to not give up. The minute you feel like you can't do one more thing, just take a break, take a breather, but don't give up. We will get out of this. We might be in the middle of it right now. We might be in the thick of things. I understand, but let's not give up. Please don't give up. Hang in there. We got it, y'all. We got it. All right.
Hey, Team Fed. I have a quick but crucial update on the mass layoff saga you've all been following. Remember how the Supreme Court lifted Judge Ilston's nationwide block on the RIFs? Well, late Wednesday night, Judge Ilston came right back with a new order, and it's a big deal. Please share this because everyone facing a RIF needs to hear this. So what happened? Well, she basically told the administration, fine, the High Court said the president can order layoffs in general, but I still get to review every single agency's layoff plan for legality. In her words, the content of those plans remains squarely at issue. Translation, the fight isn't over on the RIFs. Ilston gave Justice Department lawyers a Monday deadline to hand over all 40 RIF plans covering 17 agencies, and she emphasized they should be largely unredacted unless there's a rock-solid privilege claim. She even warned she's not inclined to let them black out big chunks because if a plan was ready to launch the day after her first injunction hit, it's no longer a draft. Once the court sees the plans, unions and the other plaintiffs get a week to respond, and then there's a follow-up hearing penciled in for July 24th. That means that every retention register, every veteran's preference calculation, every bump and retreat analysis could be picked apart under oath, agency by agency. So why does this matter to you right now? Well, first, if your agency starts issuing RIF notices today, like the Department of State, don't panic. Those notices might still be frozen again if Judge Ilston finds flaws in the underlying plan. Reality is, though, we could also end up fighting all of this later after the fact. Second, you'll likely get at least 60 days of written notice, depending on your agency, and appeal rights. So double check your retention standing the moment a notice lands. Third, keep every scrap of paper you receive, email, spreadsheets, even hallway chats in writing. If the plan later changes, the documentation could become gold in an MSPB or OSC action. Finally, talk to your union or a qualified federal employment attorney before you sign a buyout or deferred resignation offer. You can get on my calendar for a $350 strategy session at fedlegalhelp.com/strategy. I think those are filling up. You can also submit your documents, pay, pick a timeline schedule, do that all on your own by going to that website. Bottom line is the Supreme Court opened the door, but Judge Ilston just put a magnifying glass on every step agencies can take. So stay informed, stay organized, and know you're not alone. We'll keep translating the legalese so you can protect your career. Please follow us for more real-time updates and share this with any Fed who's worrying about what comes next. You've got this, we've got your back. If you're not on our newsletter, I would encourage you to get on there so you don't miss any of our content. Go to fedlegalhelp.com/newsletter. It's free. Over 3,000 Feds get it daily, and I think you'd find it very helpful. Thank you everybody for your support, and I hope you have a great day.
So I just got laid off from Microsoft. This is certainly not like the kind of content I ever intended to post on here. I just made this account for like my Twitch and gaming content, but I figured I'd talk about it because I don't know what else to do right now. I literally just got an email last Wednesday saying my position was to be terminated immediately and I was to stop doing the work that I was doing. And I think the thing that pisses me off the most about this is I moved across the country for this job, right? I moved literally from the east coast of the US to the west coast, a 45-hour drive. I left like friends and family. My wife had to leave a job that she liked and really enjoyed, and I've only worked here for 7 months. It hasn't been a full year yet. That feels like huge business oversight, right? To like say, oh, we need the budget for this person, we have the budget to hire this person, and then 7 months later be like, oh, we can't afford them anymore, it's too much money. And I still get like 2 to 3 months of severance pay, so that's nice at least. And I was told it wasn't performance based, but like I had special clearance access on my team, so I'm the only person that could do like some of the work I was working on. And you know, I was told it was like high priority. I guess nobody can do that work now. There's a deadline coming up in like 2 months, but like how, like there was no reasoning behind it. And even like my boss was fired, and I talked to like my boss's boss. He doesn't have a reason for why I was like there's no reasoning. Nobody knows. It's crazy. And I've only worked here for 7 months. Why the fuck did they hire me in the first place? I mean, I guess I just start looking for other jobs now. And maybe try to continue with the Twitch stuff or whatever, see how that goes. But just kind of like venting a bit, I guess. I don't know, I'm just kind of pissed off that this job made me move across the country and they only kept me around for 7 months. I don't know, it feels a little messed up.
Healthcare companies are going through another round of layoffs. I believe the most recent one is Sharp Healthcare, where they're laying off about 300 plus employees. So if you work in healthcare, it is so important that you understand this. The facts is that you are replaceable. If somebody can go to school, get training to do your exact job, then you are at risk. Because no matter what people tell you, working a 9-to-5 job and solely relying on just that job for stability is extremely risky. You need to not tie your value to your job, but instead tie your value to your skills, your experiences, your expertise. So you need to think of yourself as an individual and how you can combine that to create opportunities for yourself. Right now, in the age of the internet, of artificial intelligence, there's so many ways to do that. But just understand that a lot of the risk is in solely depending on 9 to 5. As a healthcare worker, you have a lot of unique expertise, so make sure you take advantage of that to create opportunities for yourself. So if you enjoy this kind of content, go ahead and follow for
Job
more.
interviews that's getting laid off is this morning in about 5 minutes. It's a phone screener. It is for a field I have never worked in before, but I have a lot of experience that kind of aligns, in my opinion, it does align with this position, and I think I could do it. It's for a nonprofit that I am passionate about, and I have told news stories about their work in our community before, so I am excited to interview with them. Woo, that interview was a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. I do not like just phone screener interviews. They're so much rougher than video interviews. I don't know why, but they are. Anyway, it was a very personality driven interview about asking about how I would work best with a team and a lot of questions like that, and it was just hard. It was very hard. But the good thing is I will know by the end of the day whether they will want to proceed with the next interview. I'm not sure that they will. I feel like I didn't do that well on that interview, which is, it's okay, it's rough. I would love to be able to proceed with the next part, but maybe I don't feel very confident in how I did in that interview. Okay, I just changed my shirt because I feel a little less confident in that shirt, and because this is a Zoom interview, I want to feel my most confident, and also I just always feel super confident in this shirt. I don't know why, I just do. It's my confidence mock shell. Also, sometimes I wear it with a suit coat and it looks really good. Will my bra straps show in this interview? I don't think so. I think we're good. Also, clearly took my hair out of the ponytail, tried to make it look as professional as possible. So phone interview is great because you can look like whatever, but you can't. I always feel like I'm more engaging on a Google Meet than I am on a phone interview. Just builds up your confidence rather than staring at a phone, a blank phone screen. Anyway, I'm feeling better already for this next interview. Feeling better. Second interview done, and I think I can finally breathe a little. I feel like I've been holding my breath since I woke up this morning, scheduling 2 interviews back to back on a Friday morning. A little bit rough, a little bit anxiety inducing, but everything's anxiety inducing if you think about it. Anything your brain can run away with. So I think I can breathe. I'm gonna eat some lunch, and I actually have a podcast interview scheduled for today, but I have to go to the podcast. And it's about my book. I wrote a book a couple years ago. It came out in 2022. I haven't talked about it in a while, but this local author is doing a new podcast where she interviews authors, and she reached out to me, scheduled it a month ago, so I couldn't cancel it. I really didn't want to cancel it because I've already postponed it once because my car was broken and I couldn't drive to the interview, and so last month it was rescheduled to today, and I didn't want to say, hey, I got laid off, so I don't want to do an interview. I'm not letting myself do that. So got that on the books to do, and got to take a little mental break for the weekend because you really can't think about finding a job on the weekend because hiring managers are not looking at resumes on Saturday and Sunday. So you get to take a mental break after this podcast interview. Mental break time.
Big news out of Austin, Minnesota. 37 union nurses at Mayo Clinic Austin just received 90-day layoff notices. Mayo says it's because of low inpatient volume and operational changes, but let's unpack what's really happening here. These nurses are all members of the Minnesota Nurses Association, and they were given official WARN notices. So that's the legal requirement when employers plan mass layoffs. But the union isn't buying it. They're calling this a union busting move, and they filed charges of unfair labor practices. So this comes from Mayo Clinic Health System, one of the most prestigious and wealthy healthcare brands in the country. So why are they cutting frontline staff? The very nurses that the patients depend on. So this isn't just a local issue. If you've been following my videos, it's part of a national trend. Hospitals are consolidating services, shifting care away from smaller community facilities like Mayo Austin, and in the process, cutting bedside staff, often while executive compensation keeps rising. Nurses have warned for years, safe staffing saves lives, but decisions like this send a clear message. Profits and efficiency are being prioritized over patient care and worker stability. So here's the question. Is this truly about declining volume, or is it about breaking the union and centralizing power? You decide. Let me know your take in the comments.
Okay, Gen X TikTok, there is a list out, a 3-page list out of all the companies that will be laying off employees for the month of July, and it's here on TikTok. So if I were you, I would get over there, get onto the video, and check to see if your company's name is on that list. Just because your company's name is not on the list does not mean that that your company, your job is not in jeopardy. It's very interesting, and I could tell you my job already started cutting hours, pay. I've had my pay cut, my hours cut, but fortunately for me, I have other sources of income. I never believe in having only one income. I've preached that on social media for the last, I don't even know, 10 years. You have to have an alternate income. You have to have a side hustle. I remember having my side hustle, yes, my Mary Kay side hustle, way before all of my friends. And now they're, doing different side hustles. But, they used to laugh, before. And before anybody says anything, everything is a scam. Your job is a scam. The stores are scams. Everything is a scam. So miss me with that. But anyway, if you are a Gen X 55 and over, you probably will not get another job paying what you're currently making. So I would advise you to, look at other possibilities, get your side hustle on, because it's about to get real serious, and a lot of people are going to be severely impacted. We can see already the economy is trash, and I'm just telling you guys, better buckle up, because those of us who are 55 over, oh yeah, they're letting you go first. So stay vigilant, guys. See you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Hey, did y'all see today all the posts about people at AT&T and different companies having to do massive layoffs due to the tariffs, and they doing a whole bunch of cuts? Baby, people is devastated. They coming into work today to find out that they have 1 week or 2 weeks left to work, and then they out. What is people supposed to do? Oh my God. I guess it's because this bill done passed. I told y'all, man, it's finna get rough. And it started today. Y'all go on there and look. AT&T had a massive layoff. I think over the whole company of AT&T, they say like 60,000 people is getting job cuts. So what they supposed to do? Get unemployment? What they supposed to do? Man, this is ridiculous. Now, how is this making America great again? Next thing you know, they're going to start laying off people at the hospitals, and they're not going to have nobody working because people just can't afford to pay their employees. Man, this is some crazy stuff, y'all. Drop down in the comments and let me know if you've been affected or if your company said anything to you, because AT&T for sure, they got the call centers. They telling them it's over with. It's over with. They got to work the rest of the week, and after that, they done. Y'all, let's talk about this thing, because this is serious.
Did you see that Denver just changed how layoffs work? And if you've ever worked in government, you know that this is probably going to get messy. They're replacing seniority with a so-called performance matrix. And let's be real, if performance was a problem, the conversation should have probably started before a significant budget crisis. Not now when it's like convenient to cut people. I worked 14 years for a government agency. And in my opinion, performance reviews are rarely just data-driven. They often boil down to what you're willing to do and how much your boss likes you. So are you willing to pick up those extra hours or cover a shift or cover somebody else or deal with a difficult client? You say one thing wrong and you may be labeled as difficult. And here's the kicker. People that have been there longer, yeah, they make a little bit more. So when Denver deficit explodes from 50 million to now over 200 million, I feel like it's pretty easy to point at the higher salaries to try to fix it. But what they're not saying is when you lay off people that have been there for a significant amount of time, you are losing tribal knowledge. The stuff that never makes it into a manual that literally keeps the city up and running. As Denver 7 reported, the former mayor candidate, Lisa Calderon, said there's still a lot of room for bias and retaliation, and workers are genuinely afraid that they'll be the first to go. And then we also have a former solid waste worker, Kenneth Lungberg, that said people are worried about if they're going to have a job within a month or so. That fear is real. From what I read, layoffs can start as early as August, and I'm sure there's a ton of city employees that are sitting at their desk, terrified on even knowing how this matrix will work. Because from what I can see, there's not a whole lot of transparency.
Has made an offer to their 20,000 employees that are basically Teamsters. They're looking to buy out their agreements to 20,000 people. Think about that. I got an example of some friends that were printers. Let me give you an example. They were union guys, retired at approximately $3,000 a month 5-10 years ago. And basically the union that they contributed to for 20 plus years went defunct over the last 5-10 years. So that $3,000 is now $600 a month. Think about that, how devastating that would be. Well, that's what's going to happen with the UPS opportunity to buy out. Now, what I would highly recommend is going independent. In other words, if you have an opportunity to exercise that buyout and get that six-figure check, and some people are making $175,000 as drivers, it's a one-time buyout, my understanding, I would take it, plus benefits. Now, who's pissed about it? The unions. You know why? They're going to lose 20,000 members. UPS is Teamsters, I believe. So do your homework. Do your homework, really look at this. And how I found this out is YouTube. People are commenting on how great it is at UPS, but what they're not saying is, what's recently been announced, is the buyout to 20,000 people. Now, what would I do? I exercised my buyout in 1993 and I went independent, and it was the best decision I ever made. I was under 40 and I wasn't wanted anymore. Did it hurt? Did it sting? Fucking right it did, because I was one of the co-founders of the operation. But you know what? They just didn't want me anymore. They felt like we could do without rock. So guess what? It took me 19 months to let go. And I went independent. I've been independent since 1993. God bless you. Think it through. And that's why I believe the UPS is in a great shape to look at the long term, because they'll never be offered a lump sum. Okay? God bless.
You guys, hope you enjoyed the video about workers laid off all over the United States. And if you have any questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. I do appreciate that. I love to read all your comments. And I'm done for now. Be safe, guys, and bye.